new iPhones have been out for just over a week, and they are the best iPhones that Apple has ever made. And this year, there's less of a difference between the iPhone 11 and their more expensive models, the iPhone 11 Pro. So this is the iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro Max review. The question at the moment is that are these new iPhones worth the upgrade? And yeah, I think they are. Could Apple have done better? Of course they could. They could have added some more Pro features to the iPhone 11 Pros, and they could have even just included a fast charger in the iPhone 11 box. But these are still the best iPhones that Apple has ever made, and you kind of expect that with them coming out this year, but there's reasons why they're the best. Let's have a look at something that I overlooked slightly at Apple's keynote a couple of weeks ago, and that was the upgraded battery life on the phones. Now, the iPhone 11 doesn't have an upgraded battery life. It's exactly the same that the phone had on the iPhone XR last year. But on the iPhone 11 Pro and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, you're getting up to 5 hours more battery life. And there's a reason why I didn't take note of it at the keynote, and that was because Apple sometimes make these claims, and in the end, nothing really happens. It's the same battery life. It's the same bad battery life that we've had for years. But the iPhone 11 Pro Max's battery life is unreal. Apple packed the iPhone 11 Pro with almost a 4,000 mAh battery, and it just won't run out. It's the best battery I've ever had in a phone. To compensate for having that massive battery, the iPhones did get a little bit thicker. Not a huge amount thicker and not really anything noticeable, but it did get noticeably heavier. So if you hold the iPhone 11 in one hand, the 11 Pro Max in the other, you can tell the weight difference. But I kind of like the heavier phone. It means that there's a less chance of you dropping it when you're out and about. But the other thing that we had to have to compensate for the larger battery was getting rid of 3D touch and replaced it with haptic touch. 3D touch isn't a feature that I use that often, but using haptic touch, it feels quite slow and sluggish. So I'm kind of happy that they've taken out the 3D touch because I'm all about a bigger battery life on these phones. I've been getting between 6 and 8 hours of screen on time with the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I've been testing it loads over the last week. So I've been testing photos, all the gaming, 4K video, and the lowest amount of battery that I've been at so far at the end of the day is 20%. The iPhone 11's design changes slightly this year, just adding a couple of new colours and obviously that second camera lens, which I'll talk about in a minute. I think this year though, because of the price of the iPhone 11 and the fact that it's got that extra camera lens, it's got night mode, it's got all of this stuff, it's almost the exact same as the iPhone 11 Pro. I think that will make it the most popular iPhone that Apple have ever sold. The iPhone 11 comes with a 6.1-inch LCD Super Liquid Retina display. Even though it's the perfect size screen, it is an LCD screen, and that's why I've ended up going for the iPhone 11 Pro Max. The iPhone 11 Pro Max is a 6.5-inch OLED Super Retina HDR display, I think is what Apple are calling it. So it's brighter, it's got more accurate colours if you're watching videos or you want to do some gaming or do some photo editing on it. If having more accurate colours on a screen is something that bothers you, then maybe think about going for the iPhone 11 Pro. The other differences are quite obvious. So you've got the third camera lens on the iPhone 11 Pro phones. You also have that frosted matte back, which makes the phone feel so nice that it kind of makes you want to rock it without a case, which is living dangerously, I know. The one thing they do share though is that A13 Bionic chip, and then also they share the same amount of RAM with each other. So it means in terms of performance, these phones are going to be almost identical. The iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro both come with this brand new camera, which, as you probably already know, is a ultra-wide lens. The iPhone 11 Pro, though, also comes with a third lens, which is a telephoto lens. In all the promo stuff that Apple did for these phones, that second lens on the iPhone 11 looked perfect, and it still looked really nice in person. But on the iPhone 11 Pros, all the photos made it look really ugly, but once you get it in real life and you get it in your hand, it actually looks really nice, and I'm starting to like it. You can take 4K 60 frames per second video on both of these phones, on both the front facing and the rear camera, and as you're filming, you can actually switch between the telephoto lens, the wide and the ultra wide, so it moves seamlessly and it looks brilliant. Apple have been slow at adding this ultra wide lens to phones, as Android have had it for years, but now Apple have done it, they've done it so well. When you're switching between the wide and the ultra wide lens, the quality of the lens differs a little bit, only slightly, so the colours are almost an exact same match for the other lenses, which if you know anything about this on phones, that's pretty impressive. The photos that you can take with this phone are incredible, and it seems like Apple have stepped up the game in terms of cameras, and now with the ultra-wide lens as well, you can capture things which you would just never have seen before. Even the videos this year have taken a step up, and when you're recording 4K at 60 frames a second, you can see the phone here doing the stabilization, and it looks like you're using a gimbal. It's fantastic. Now let's talk about the best feature that Apple have ever introduced to any of their phones, and it's night mode. Apple again have been slow with adding night mode, but they have done it, and they have done it so well. You can take photos in almost total darkness and still have something to show someone. You can still salvage something from that photo. You get night mode on both the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pros, and just take a look at some of these photos. They're incredible. To get something that good from something that lives its life in your pocket, it's next level. The cameras have even taken a step up themselves this year, and now I think personally that they are the best camera on a flagship phone that we've got. This year's iPhone only seems to have small upgrades, but they're noticeable. If you're wondering what phone you should get and you don't mind having an LCD screen and are not bothered about that telephoto lens, then the iPhone 11 is one of the best phones that Apple have ever made, and it is so close to what the iPhone 11 Pro is that a lot of people won't even know the difference. They both share the same chip, they both do almost the exact same thing, it just has one camera lens less and the screen is not as good, but the iPhone 11s this year are brilliant. If taking photos and videos is really your thing and you like to edit them on your phone, then the iPhone 11 Pro is probably one for you because it has that OLED screen. It means that the colors are going to be a little bit more accurate when you come to do a bit of editing. And also, if you want a battery that's going to last you more than the entire day, then the iPhone 11 Pro Max is the phone you should go for. Having a massive battery in a phone like this is something that I never knew I wanted until last week. And now I couldn't go to a phone where I'm struggling to get any sort of battery life out of it for an entire day. Apple might not have redesigned the phone this year or really redesigned iOS 13, but what they have done is taken small steps, and the small steps are in the right direction, so hopefully next year's iPhones are even better than the ones that we have this year. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then do that now, and also drop a like on the video and let me know if you're going to buy one of these phones, and let me know why in the comments below. And until next time, see you later.